So, after visiting every continent in the world, I wanted to talk a little bit about my favorite experience from each one. Starting off big with Antarctica, the biggest, most expensive trip I have ever done, which I did earlier this year. My big highlight moment in Antarctica was doing the polar plunge. And first of all, we were so pumped up leading up to the polar plunge. We're all singing, we're in our little robes, jumping up and down, trying not to freeze, getting so nervous and so excited. And we're wondering what's taking so long. And then come to find out, there's a whale like right there. So they're waiting. The whale goes off a little bit. We start jumping in. I jump in. As I'm getting ready to jump in, people are yelling, look, look, there's a whale. So I look over and I see the nose of a humpback whale just sticking out of the water, only like maybe 20, 30 feet away. And I point and I go, it's a whale. And then I just jump in the water. And I had this goal that I was going to stay in the water and count to 10 or something. But immediately I couldn't move. I started to like freeze up really quite a lot. So I had to get out. I had to get out after like 2 seconds. So swim back to the ladder, and I'm trying to climb the ladder and my legs aren't wanting to bend enough. So I had to physically use my hand to bend my knee enough to climb the ladder. But there's a whale like right there. So that was crazy. And the footage of this whale is crazy. And it's by far the craziest thing I've ever done in my life. On another very cold note, my favorite experience here in the States and North America in general was in Alaska. So I was visiting my aunt in Fairbanks, Alaska, and she was like, you have to check out this place called Chena Hot Springs Resort. So she took me up there. I'm there with my partner at the time. We're enjoying the hot springs, which was crazy because it was like negative 30 degrees outside. So getting to them was a whole adventure. But once you're in there, it was very hot. It was very cool. My hair was freezing. My eyelashes were freezing. In the middle of the night, everybody's like, look, look, the northern lights. So we go outside and the northern lights are there. Very dim. I don't know whether to count it or not because it was very, very hard to see. But I did see the northern lights. The next morning, I did a small dog sled journey. So I got to ride in a dog sled and see how excited the huskies get to do this little track. And we went through the snow and they were just so stoked, which was crazy. You know, you think of animal labor as the animals suffering, but those dogs love pulling the dog sled. They were having the best time. It was very cool. So yeah, that was my best experience in North America for sure. South America was a little hard, but I just had to go with Lima. Now, Lima didn't have a particular moment or anything that stood out. It just had a really great vibe. It was affordable. I liked the food a lot. There was a lot of really good food. Had a lot of ceviche. Tried surfing for the first time. Hated it, but it was nice to try it. There was a zoo with tons of different kinds of big cats that I've never seen before in this Legends Park. And overall, the city is just full of ruins. It's very interesting how the city coexists with all of these ancient ruins. I've never really seen anything like it. You know, you can be having lunch in this restaurant, looking out on these Mayan ruins, and it's just extremely casual. So that was kind of mind-blowing. And last but not least, the Pokemon Go culture, at least when I was there, was huge. There were 20, 40 people showing up on corners to do Pokemon Go raids, and I was doing Pokemon Go raids, so it was a lot of fun to play Pokemon while I was there. And just the whole time I was in Lima, the mood was super light. I just really enjoyed every minute, really, and I loved the people. My favorite experience in Oceania was in New Zealand when I went to the Waitomo Glowworm Caves. So if you don't know what that is, they are these underground caves full of these little hanging worms that glow in the dark. They glow blue. And it looks crazy. If you turn the lights off, it looks like there's a million stars in the sky. So I went with this company called Blackwater Rafting. And it started out, we rappelled down into the cave. And then we took these rafts, basically inner tubes, and jumped off a cliff, a small cliff, into the water on our tube, floated down this river in the cave in our tubes, looking at the glowworms and everything. Then when we got to a certain point, we got out of our tubes, slid down a waterfall, and then climbed our way out through the cave system. There was an eel in the water at one point, like a large eel. It was pretty crazy. I've never done anything even remotely like that. It's a very unique experience. I highly recommend it. You need a moderate level of physical fitness to do it. At least be able to climb up some easy boulders and things like that, and then you should be able to handle it. Also, there were some kind of narrow areas, but I think you can avoid those if you would like to. We all opted to go through there. So yeah, that was an amazing experience as well. In Asia, my best experience was at Namsan Park in Seoul. I didn't plan to go to Seoul during cherry blossom season. It just kind of happened. And so I went to see Namsan Park, and it was full of cherry blossom trees, sakura trees, and it was just so beautiful. So I walked through the park, and then I came across this trail that was like hike up this way to get to the tower. And it was a pretty moderately physically challenging hike. You had to hike up a hill quite a ways up to the tower. And then when I got up to the tower, there was this beautiful view of Seoul. I ate in the restaurant at the top of the tower, which was very good. It was a very fancy restaurant. And overall, the experience was just so beautiful, so meditative. The cherry blossoms smelled amazing. The view was great. And yeah, it was just an incredible day. I fell in love with Seoul that day, and then just continued to be in love with Seoul the entire trip. I have a really big spot in my heart for that city. And I will say that country, I've only been to Seoul though. Now, my favorite thing from Europe is going to be a huge travel hot take, but it was the food in Norway. I've heard a lot of people say that the food in Norway or in Scandinavia in general is not very good. It's plain. That was not my experience whatsoever. I stayed in Stavanger for a while, and I had amazing, very fresh seafood there. Fiskesuppe, their local fish soup, it's just so good. Fresh oysters, toast with these little fresh shrimps on them, fresh dill, some lemon juice and mayonnaise. That's like a very common thing to eat there. In Oslo, I had all these amazing types of wild game and berries. I really like the combination of gamey red meats and berries. So I had, reindeer pie with lingonberry. I had some other foods with cloudberry, really good chocolate. I just overall had an incredible culinary experience in Norway. The salmon is the freshest, fattiest salmon I've had anywhere in the world. And all the food in general was very fresh. It is quite expensive. It is not cheap, but I thought the food in Norway was world class. It was so good. Last but not least is glorious, beautiful Africa. My favorite experience in Africa was visiting South Africa and going on my first safari. I think your first safari will always stick with you. It was at Gondwana Nature Preserve, and they had the most incredible service, very, very kind people, great food. Yeah, just going on this safari experience and being face to face with these animals that you normally see in a zoo that are just so special feels incredible. I saw many, many water buffalo and elephants, saw several giraffes. But of course, the highlight was seeing the lions. We spent the entire week looking for the lions, and I finally saw them near the end of the trip. There was a German woman in the back of the safari vehicle losing her absolute mind. She was so terrified that we were close to the lions, but there were 2 female adult lions, 1 male adult lion, and a male and female cub that were playing. And we got out of the vehicle to try to see them, and they were walking towards us up this hill. So then we got back in the vehicle, and then they walked and they passed right by the vehicle, and then the babies were jumping in this tree and playing, and it was just so magical. The entire experience in Africa, well, in that safari, was super magical. I remained friends with my safari guide for a long time. I still consider him a friend to this day. And yeah, going on a safari in Africa is absolutely a bucket list experience. It is not what I expected. I thought you were literally just going out into nature. These safaris are generally at nature reserves where they keep the animals contained and safe, keep them separate from farming and agriculture in the country. So that's something that I didn't know, but yeah, it was an incredible experience. It was definitely a bucket list experience for sure. So yeah, those were my 7 favorite continent highlights, so to speak, after having visited every continent in the world. I'll be back with an update when I've visited every country in the world. That will be an insane series, I'm sure. But until then, I will catch you in the next one. I put out new videos every Friday, so please subscribe to my travel blog and come with me as I plan to visit every country in the world.